You just have to agree whether or not you are a DC fan. This has been a very tough week, from the dramas to the releases to the bombing to everything that has been happening in the space of DC. So today we are going to talk about that, and are going to have a quick discussion and see some of the things and try to understand better, especially with the drama that is Supergirl. The movie bombed terribly. In fact, it's even one of the worst when it comes to how it has bombed. And there's even some behind the scenes drama that were happening long before this movie was released. And we just have to talk about it so that we can be able to get a better understanding of what we are looking at. Now, in case you have no idea, there is this article by the Hollywood Reporter talking about behind the Supergirl bomb, competing courts, creating differences, and I think this is something that we just have to talk, because it seems that when we are moving um two steps forward, we're also moving one step back. Now, I want to make it my my stance clear when it comes to DC and DC products. I am not someone who is against the DCU. I am not someone who expects DC to fail in general. Now, whosoever comes in and leads the DC to greater heights, I genuinely don't care. I just want to get good DC movies because I'm a fan of DC itself. And after years of putting my love into this product, I don't expect for it to feel just like that. Now, Supergirl itself, I've leave my review on the channel or whatever platforms they are watching. If it's Facebook, if it's TikTok, I've posted my review and they're on those platforms. So when it comes to this one, I'm a little bit surprised having to say that this issue is worst, and it will affect the future of DC going forward. Now, whether the future is the current heads of the DC studios being are going to be fired, or they are just going to replace um who is going to be above, or they are going to have to find a way to just salvage the leadership of DC in general. We don't know how that's going to be. Currently, the studio is being bought by Paramount. That's this Warner Brothers, which is actually above DC Studios, is being bought by Paramount, and it's kind of like, what exactly should we expect? I don't think a lot of people have any hope when it comes to DC product in general. If they release something that is good and great, no problem with Batman, no problem. But I don't think a lot of people are like, this is going to be something great. This is going to be the best DC movie ever. That has reduced after Supergirl. And personally, I feel that they are not even making the situation any better. So without no further ado, let's talk about Supergirl, and let's see what exactly is going on right here. Now, I'm going to talk about. You're going to be reading this article, and you're going to be reading it word for word, so that we can at least be following along when it comes to what was said here, and if there's anything that we can learn from this article. Now, also, we're also going to be talking about the future of DC and DC Studios while we're at it. Now, this is from the Hollywood Reporter Each Vision segment where they talk about superhero and superhero cape stuff. For months, DC Studios knew the film wasn't working. Things came to head in March when the studio tested its own court against one from filmmaker Craig Gillespie. Now, this is basically the entire the entire story when it comes to this, like what exactly we're trying to get. Because remember, when DC Studios was starting, the entire sales pitch, or part of the sales pitch, was that creatives in this universe are going to get their vision aired. And recently, I just came across that it's not like that was the main thing. Is that um, while the creatives are going to be, there was the studio itself is going to intervene when it's going to need to intervene. But basically, we as the audience could expect that if you are to get someone like Craig Gillespie, you're going to get Craig Gillespie, you're going to get someone like Christopher Nolan, you're going to get a Christopher Nolan story, Martin story, and all that. But having to see that the studios is coming in and trying to interfere with this, we it's kind of like giving us this doesn't make any sense. But we have to be able to get the full concept before we start putting our own emotions in it. Now, yes, it's usually test. Sorry, us- I should stop doing that. Usually, test scores go up, up, and away. But this match, the scores for Supergirl actually went down when DC Studios held a bake-off, testing competing cuts from filmmaker Craig Gillespie and from the studio run by James Gunn and Peter Safran. It was a moment of extreme disappointment for those involved. Stop doing that. For those involved, as the stakes were high, popularity for DC Supergirl would be a key test for Warner Bros. Division as it features as its first feature not written and directed by Gunn, following last year's inaugural outing Superman. Now, in case you don't remember, last year DC Studios released three DCU no sorry, was it two DCU projects? Oh, sorry, three DCU projects, two series and one movie. Peacemaker, Creature Commandos, and Superman. Now, all three had serious involvement of James Gunn. Now, this time around, this year, we're expecting that if there's not anything about James Gunn, at least we could have gotten, I think we should get something good. At least if there's no James Gunn involved, what can DCU bring to its audience? And surprisingly, we got what we got. Months later, the Supergirl outcome Month later, the Supergirl outcome is known well. The movie starring Emilia Clarke as the title character and budget in the 170 million to 180 million range crashed and burned on its opening weekend, grossing just $37.1 million, even lower than the rival DC-centric bomb 2024's Joker Folia Ado which opened to 37.6 million and was not made by Gunn and Safran. And while one failure need not to be an indictment of a slate, there have been all sorts of think pieces as to why the movie failed. Was Alcock right for the role? Was Gillespie right for the take? Are the audience tired of spirals? Was opening the movie in late June a mistake? Was the budget too high? The fate of Supergirl may may have been seeded early on. Now, what this is basically saying is that this is one of the worst when it comes to opening. That's remember we have Joker 2, which till this very moment I haven't watched, and I don't think I'm going to have to so that let me sit down and watch this movie. Maybe one day I'll end up watching it, but as of now, I don't think I want to watch Joker 2. Now, on this particular thing is was important for me when it comes to what I want to say. And while one failure need not to be an indictment of a slate, there have been all sorts of think pieces as to why the movie failed. One failure not be an indictment of a slate. Now, a lot of people have been going up about and be saying that this movie, because this movie failed, the entire DCU is over. That's the end of the DCU. James Gunn and Peter Safran are out. Let's get a new person. Some people are even suggesting that we can bring back Zack Snyder. Here's what I'm going to say. It doesn't mean anything. Now, your first movie might be great, your second movie might be worse, your first movie might be worse, second movie might be great, your third movie might be shaky. It still doesn't mean that the entire movie is going to burn or this entire slate is gone. It what What that means is that, okay, there is something that is wrong here. Can we salvage it, and can we at least make something better of it? Now, the first movie was too expensive. This one was madly expensive. The next one, which is Clayface, is very low budget. Now, if these movies are feeling, if they are not moving expectation back to back, I think the studios can say that, okay, let's stop it here, and let's see if we can bring someone in, or let's keep on making Batman. It doesn't mean anything. Now, if you are comparing that to Marvel, not every Marvel movie, especially when it comes to the first phase, was great, but at least they were able to give some teases, and audience were still interested in it. Now, if audiences have given up on the DC Studio, DCU slate entirely, then I think you are all done for. It is over. Now, um if this? If Superman was not enjoyed mostly, if Supergirl was not enjoyed mostly, if Clayface was not enjoyed mostly, I think Warner Brothers is going to step in, or Paramount or whoever is actually going to be there and say that, okay, let's do this instead. And if the studios cannot, if the studio heads cannot agree, they will just leave, and they will expect another person to come and take over. So that's what we are currently, the situation we are currently in. Now, moving on, Gunn and Gillespie had creative differences over the direction of the movie. Numerous sources tell the Hollywood Reporter, and the film never found its footing in the post-production process. The test scores, which are counted on a scale out of 100 points, never escaped the 60s, according to multiple insiders. Another insider said the movie's top score was 70. They were not creatively aligned is a polite way of describing things, said one insider. I think my book is shaking. It's shaking. One insider disputes the characterization, saying Gunn and Safran and Gillespie add the normal amount of healthy fiction any filmmaker and studio have as part of the process of making a movie better, and multiple sources say the duo respect the filmmaking chops of Gillespie, known for guiding Margot Robbie to an Oscar nomination for Aitoria. Filming wrapped in May 2025, and as early as the fall of that year, the studio and Gillespie knew this movie wasn't working. And this is something we have to take we have to take note of. Now, we know that the studio had creative differences, and people are saying that this is okay, and people are saying that this is normal. So people are saying it kind of feels weird, but I think this is part of the normal processes, the normal process. After a December test screening proved to be just okay, the studio decided to take matters into its own hand and took charge of the post-production to make its own cut. The studio also enlisted writer Jeremy Slater, a Gunn favorite who previously wrote an unmade feature based on DC superhero team The Authority, to help with the post-production process. Now, this is quite interesting. We realized that after the movie was tested just okay, which is what people are saying right now. The movie is not that bad, but it's just okay. It's just good. The movie. It's not one movie that is going to change the game entirely. So what the DC studios did is like, okay, let's create our own cut. Then they called someone called Jeremy Slater. Jeremy Slater wrote The Authority. The Authority, we didn't get The Authority. They said that they couldn't find their footing. So the question is, why did you bring someone who made a project that you are not certain to release? It was part of your announced project, but you didn't end up releasing it. So why is that person writing this movie? Now they ended up writing, make someone to come and write the um the post what do you call it, the reshoots, and if it was part of it, they made their own cut. So what happened next? The extent of Slater involvement is unclear, although it seems he helped write scenes for a 9-day shoot of additional photography, which I said. Original screenwriter Anna remained involved in the post-production process as well, meaning they didn't get rid of the writer, but she was still part of the post-production. One issue at play was the climatic fight, which was reconfigured. I mean, towards the end, there was a particular fight between Clem bad guys and what Supergirl did. In case you watch the movie, you know exactly the scene I'm talking about. It was part of one of the big differences that they had. Other issue with the movie are unclear, but it is known that the music was a friction point. From its first Guardian of Galaxy movie movie on, Gunn established himself. I should stop doing that. Gunn established himself as the master of the movie soundtrack and the all-important needle drop earned praises for finding the right song and dropping it at the right time. Gillespie has a reputation for meddling music to movies, as seen in Cruella in his 2021 movie that cast Disney villainess Cruella de Vil as a punk rock label in London's fashion scene. Now, this is quite interesting. The fight was an issue, the song choice was an issue, but the song choice we got was kind of like not hard to miss. You are being pulled by that movie, especially when you're supposed to enjoy the scene. Now, a lot of people would argue that it would have been best to either use Call Me, which was marketed heavily. They did all the thing, and they didn't end up using it, or they could have just used the theme, which was quite okay. So the song choice was like an issue. Even then they saw it. The movie had at least four test screening according to sources, with screening held in December 2025, as well as February and March of this year. And while social media users and critics are dunking on the movie use of a cover of the Jimmy Eats word song, The Middle, the the big needle drop in the final set piece at February screening was a cover of Sydney Looper's Girl Just Wants to Have Fun. That song choice came from Gunn, but it ultimately was abandoned for Jimmy Eats world cover. So now, this is quite interesting. Gunn chose a song, then they ended up choosing the one that they originally used. So meaning the song choice was still not Gunn's fault, because what I'm reading here is that the big needle drop in the final set piece at the February screening was a cover version of the Sydney Lopez Girls Just Want to Have Fun. That song choice came from Gunn. The original one was by James Gunn, but ultimately they ended up choosing the Jimmy Eat World cover. So this one is now the one that they finally agreed upon. So that's interesting. The movie employed two editors. There was Tiana S. Rigel, Gillespie's longtime post partner, who edited his Lars and the real girl, Itonia and Cruella, and there was Fred Raskin, Gunn longtime cutter, who worked on the Guardians of the Galaxy movie and Gunn's DC series Peacemaker. Raskin is also Quinterian's go-to editor. He was brought on later in the process and took a key instrumental in the studio slowly every hand. This is quite interesting. So they both have different people that the different editor, and it turns out what we got. It seems that what we got was from the studio, which is quite not a good sign. Now moving on. There were signs that, okay, yeah, there were signs that things were getting better deep into winter test scores, proving to hit the low 70s. However, rather than continue to tinker away on that code, the studio decided to force the bake-off by creating two codes, one by Gillespie, one by the studio. It's unclear what major differences emerged, but one source say Gillespie version was 11 minutes longer and featured more of the villain crime played by Materials. I can't pronounce his name. When the two competitive versions tested, the surprising score dropped significantly, although the studio edged out ahead of Gillespie, but only 2 points according to sources. Gillespie version scored strong on the song choices, pacing, and villain, eking out a win, even a middling one. The studio chose its cut and it's one to go into theaters. A studio insider said the differences were not particularly pronounced. I think this is what I've seen for people that went for the test screenings. They were saying that it doesn't really matter if it was Gillespie version that they released. Some people were saying don't even bother with Gillespie version. They should not bother releasing it because it doesn't make much difference. I think that's what we've seen from the beginning. That this movie from the get go was quite of it's not really going to be the greatest thing ever, but at the end of the day, it's just um what it is. Now a majority of this is just caption what was said. So I think what I would say is that uh, even though the movie was just okay, I don't think there were lots of factors that were against Supergirl. The release date was one. The comments by uh the actors. Now I'm not saying that in fact I fully there are cases where I fully support what she was saying. Malia Cox, she's just being herself, and I don't think anyone should tolerate disrespect. I won't want that on myself. I won't want that on my sister. I won't want that on anyone. So I don't see when people say that, oh, she didn't say anything, that you just divide fans more. Like when you are calling people all sort of names and you are bullying them, I don't think it's the right thing. But a lot of things played against the favor of this movie. The marketing, the release dates, every single thing. So I don't think also, this is even the World Cup season. I don't think they should have done their research. They are not only marketing this movie to America, they're marketing this movie to people all over the world. And if you notice anything from Superman, is that all people all over the world don't really care too much. So if you want to market it, you should have marketed it when there's no World Cup season. You should have marketed it when people would give a shit about the movie that is actually being released. But I think they really fucked up bad when it comes to this. Now, moving on, and in many ways, the strategy remained intact. Despite the setback, Gunn and Safran will continue to guide the ship. So as of now, they are still the heads of the sea. It is unclear when the duo's contracts are up, but sources believe it's either end of 2026 or end of 2027. Now, if it's end of 2027, maybe whatever we are going to find out with Paramount is what we are going to find out. So I think they are going to have to sit down and they are going to do a review. Now, I believe what they are going to have to do or what they need to do if to give any input is that they should make gun choose. If you are going to be a director and a writer and a creative person, you are going to have to relinquish your power a bit. Now, whether is going to like it or not, it depends on ego. As of now, I would have say that Peter Safran be the head of DC Studios or head of DC in general, working with Jimmy and the likes. While James Gunn might be the comic guy, I don't think he's a business person that would be I will understand exactly what is needed to be done. Now, I am not in the shoes. I'm not. You can use all that against me or for me, but I would say that. It shouldn't be the one like the main guy as of now. They should be someone that is above him, and Peter Safran would be good. But if they are going to be someone that knows DC well, they can put that person with Peter Safran or above both of them. Now, James Gunn is good when it comes to creating understanding DCU. So if he wants to do that, he can also sit back and have his own plan drawn that and let people work within that plan. And if you are going to have this slate you are going to release, I think you should be very sure. I don't think is getting too much, and I would argue it's getting out of hand. Because when you're I don't think it's feeling like, oh, you don't think, you don't know, we don't know. So what exactly are we doing? We are not working together. It's your business, you are getting paid for this. And if you're not doing what it is that you're supposed to be doing, I don't understand what exactly we are doing here. So he should know what he's going to do forward. So now, moving on. By then, these studios will have released not only Clayface, the modestly budget horror movie centered on Batman villain, but also Man of Tomorrow, which Gunn is currently directing and which is slated to open July 9, 2027. The Batman Part 2 from Matriv is also in production, and an October 1st, 2027 date, but stands separate from the DCU. So Clayface, Man of Tomorrow, the Batman Part 2, which is under DC Studios, but not the DCU. Mr. Miracle, the Jimmy Olsen show, uh, I think those five will probably be out if they can release those five. And whoever is going to come in is going to have to sit down and do the review. And if they are going to have to step in, there's going to be a great discussion. So we are going to know towards the end of the year, towards the end of 2027, or by Man of Tomorrow release, what the future of these guys are going to be. And we are going to know by how they are talking. If they are talking like, let's see what the future brings, I think it is at the point where um, they are just one signature away from their contract renewal. Sorry, not from them, rather by whoever it's whether it's Warner Brothers or Paramount, they are going to have to be like, whoever is being their boss at that time, we have to say that I still don't trust you guys, but maybe. And I do not. If a situation where it's 1 month, 1 year, or 2 years contract extending, I think we are seeing a very, very, very not good situation. I think that time things are just bad that time. So I think what they have to do is that they're just going to have to know what they are doing, and if they are testing out ideas, they should test it out well. But one thing I love about this studio is that they are not seeing it as what you call your normal universe. It's just a movie studio to them with different kind of movies, this movie, that movie, oh, this, that, action, this, that. But it happens to be with the IP for DC. Now, if they are going to market what that to be for DCU, they should stop using the interconnectedness. Now, it's going to be interconnected in a way, it's going to be a universe in a way, but it should be like we are doing separate movies. Yes, characters might come together. They will be in the same world, but they should market it well. This is what the DCU is all about. You should have an explainer of what the DCU is all about. I understand what they are trying to build, but I don't think there are people that understand what they are trying to build. And people are expecting a lot of things from them, Batman and um, Justice League, which I'm going to even talk about very soon. I don't think we should be getting most of that. There are some things about DC that I'm even tired of. Let me talk about it now. Batman being one of the main things. Now, I understand Batman is good, Batman sells, Batman stories are great, and all that. Personally, I feel that we are getting too much Batman, and I'm at the point where I just calm down with Batman. Batman is Batman. Any small thing, Batman. I'm even not tired. Yeah, people can say that there's never too much Batman, but at the same time, let's know what they are doing. Let's find other stories to tell. And this Batmanness is just we just need to find what we should understand what exactly we are doing. Sorry. Okay. Now let's get right back into the article. Gunn will continue to exercise his ideas, especially in pensions and of providing lesser known side characters. His Paramount spin-off focusing on Jimmy Olsen, played by the Steam Steelers Kyle Gisondo, is getting a comedic take with mockumentary series DC Crime that will shoot this for. DC Crime is not the actual title. There's also series focused on Mr. Terrific, played by Superman Breaker star Eddie Getege, and is currently in active development with Alan Einberg, the Sandman, writing the pilot, which I love. Like I said, we need to start focusing on characters and start building this the IP, start building the value of these characters. And while Batman is great, you want Batman every now and then. I think it's that time we start focusing on a lot of other characters. Now moving on, but Supergirl failure does not scrutinize spotlight on Gunn, who has positioned himself as the face of the company as no other studio head has before. Thanks to his prodigious output on social media and comments in the press about quality control. Now, I think this is where the the it feels like Gon is getting attacked. Now, some of this criticism that Gon is going to be facing, some of them are are valid, and I won't say that if let's say you are doing great now, and people will even support what you are doing, and they are criticizing you, feel like you're just eating. But I think that it's because that this is not great per se. It's not just something that is extraordinarily great, and he has kind of put himself in a situation where we would we won't like him. Now, the DCU, you can hate on DCU for as much as you want, but I don't think the DCU had a face compared to no had like someone that claimed that is the face someone that claimed that is the face of the DCU compared to the DCU. Now, Zack Snyder's reign on the DCEU ended with the Justice League. It was just three movies: Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, and the Justice League. Even though he did the first Justice League in a way, there was another person that I think Walter Amanda that directed that Justice League. Then so we now got the Snyder Justice League. So those are like the three and a half movies that Zack Snyder did. The rest were not Zack Snyder. So there were different people that were heading those things, and they failed. So it's kind of like this Zack Snyder being the fall guy. I did my thing, and why am I the only one getting blamed? Zack Snyder this, Zack Snyder that, Zack Snyder that. I just want to make my own movies in the DC movies and end up being Superman. I want to tell my Superman story, and I was forced to do this, I was forced to do that. I think that's what Zack Snyder can get credit for. Though I do not enjoy majority of those movies, but at least Zack Snyder can get credit on that. But in this case now, James Gunn going, this is my. It's not really that he went that this is my universe, but kind of like I am the face of this universe. I am the face. I'm 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 the face. Everybody's now saying James Gunn everywhere. Everybody knows James Gunn. You don't necessarily have to be someone that cared about superhero movies, but if you see DCU or DC, you will think about James Gunn. Majority of studio heads are just in the corner and like they're doing their studio head things. When Pam Addy, I can't remember, but the heads of Warner Bros. Pictures, when they were having issues, I think we're just getting some of those issues through journalist articles. So we don't really, I don't think they're on social media per se like that. So we don't really have like any them coming out giving us statements or doing interviews left and right to to um to talk about their points. Even Kevin Feige, whenever he had issue, people just go straight to the only person that they can find, which is the actors or the directors. put the blame on that person. But James Gunn now, even though the director himself had issue, the director was the worst, the writer was the worst. You put yourself as the guy who reviews the script, you put yourself as the guy with the studio head, so all the blame will obviously come on you. Now, whenever the press release something, you're always turning them down. No, this is not true, this is not true, this is not true, this is not true. Trying to debunk everything, always being on social media. This press will resent you. And when it turns out that after all that thing, you didn't perform well, they're just going to take advantage of that. Aha! Got you. So I don't think it is it is not expected. You brought that upon yourself. Now moving on, the challenge for Gunn and thus this studio is to investigate the fine line of being filmmaker friendly while other trusted a strong artistic point of view that's guiding him all his career. This studios, however, has other challenges looming larger than Supergirl failure or the visionary of Brainiac. There are anxieties of David Ellison, Paramount's upcoming acquisition of Warner's. And we don't know all that. Like I said, there's also going to be a creative difference when it comes to these guys, being that Paramount, in a way, plays to right wingers by the kind of project that they release. So, if James Gunn feels that is left leaning too much, and these guys are pushing him to the right wing. They are saying that okay, yeah, let's assume we know that in the since James Gunn like love using Silver Age reference. In the Silver Age reference, you know that Flash was kind of a conservative. So now, if they make Flash a conservative, the question would be: is that James Gunn following what was in the Silver Age, or was that interference by Paramount pushing for conservative? People were going, oh, now you're leaning towards Jews, you're leaning towards Israel, you're leaning towards the right wing. So those questions are going to align. They're going to come. So you just going to feel like if you say that if you want to put like anti-Nazi message, you say that no, we are tired of this anti-Nazi too much. It's kind of causing the political divide. Would ego come in and so that you can't work with them? All those kind of things. So there are ways we are going to have to work. There are left-wing products, there are right-wing products. The question is how do you balance that? We allow your belief to take over you and so that you're no longer doing this thing again because you can't work with Paramount. Those questions are going to have to come in place. Perhaps the big perhaps the biggest challenge ahead for Gunn and Safran may be guiding superhero studio right as superhero movies are no longer a bulletproof genre for moviegoers. Gen Z does not care about superhero movies. Noted one studio head. The genre belongs to millennials. Now, this is actually quite interesting because uh, there are quite a number of Gen Z people that just want original movies, and it's not that they don't like what do you call this? They don't like superhero movies. Is that they don't like how superhero movies are being told. I saw a particular videos where they to explain that the western, though the western genre wasn't booming and dead, but it turns out the Western keep on coming back every single time. Django Unchained is a Western that ended up coming back. There was this one I can't remember by uh, this director, is it David Fincher or who? I can't remember his name, but he's also trying to release a Western. The issue was that the stories keep on repeating itself, and when the stories keep on repeating itself, Gen Zs are going to pull back. I've watched this over and over again, and a lot of people keep on forgetting that Gen Zs are not born yesterday. They've watched majority of these movies, the old movies, the new movies. Personally, there are times where I just go back to old movies. As at day before yesterday, I was listening to Juju music back to back because I just want to get a bit of fresh air of music. I'm tired of the type of music that are being released every single time. It's like you guys to release something new or create a new genre, create a new sound. I'm tired of releasing the type of music every single time. So that's why Gen Zs are pushing back, and it's not that they hate this genre, it's just that they are tired of getting these same stories over and over again. So basically, this is all about the DC Studio drama and the plan for DC Studios. Actually, yeah, I think while I'm at it, let me talk about Lanterns posters so that please we can just talk about that. Lanterns. Okay, so this right here is part of the new posters that was released for Lanterns. This I think that's quite an interesting. This one is not new. This one, and this one. This four are part of the new one. I think there's more. Yeah, this five. One, two, three, four, five. Are part of the new ones. There's also the logo that was there also. Part of the new one. So hopefully we get the new teaser towards the end of the week by Friday. I think so. We're going to get one. I believe we're going to get one by Friday. I might do a reaction. I might not do a reaction. I just want to keep on talking about these conversations better and having to. Oh, I just realized you guys are not seeing it. I'm sorry on that. Recording as listen. Uh, so yeah, these are the new lantern posters. One, two, three, four, and five. These are the new lantern posters that were released. So that's all on this is Studios drama and Supergirl. What do you guys think? Leave that in the comment section below. I would love to hear your thoughts. We need to be having more conversations like this and try to see because this is what I love. Now, I would love to talk about more Marvel here. It's just that I'm going to talk about someone from outside in. I haven't really gotten into more Marvel product like that. I'm not really a Marvel guy, but whenever I can, I will talk about them and DC. I also want to talk about things about my country. I have one more episode of Starting Line I was supposed to release today, but I haven't really done the editing, and I just want to get that one to out of the way so that we can at least just focus on new things and more things coming out when it comes to these things. But that's all. Maybe also down in the comment section below. My name is Adedayo. This has been Streamdorm. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you comment. Make sure you share. And thank you for being part of this episode. Um, Bye for now, and see you next time when I see you. Bye for now.